On this week's episode, I am speaking with Quinton Lucion. Quinton is currently the lead guitarist in the metal band Red Method, a group that has seen quite a steady growth since its inception officially in 2018, displaying both unique tunes and a very distinct stage attire, which we will come to discuss. As this interview was originally done in February 2021, the subject of lockdown does come up quite a bit. However, this has led Quinton to expand his social media presence with Quinton's Guitar Corner. This is a brand Quinton started initially as a YouTube channel that eventually branched out onto other platforms, such as Twitch and TikTok. I've known Quinton for quite some time, and was heavily involved in producing music videos for a group he founded called Kill for Company. His hard work has continued to pay off since then, as you will see. Enjoy. Hello.
Yeah, bro. How's it going? You all right?
I'm good, man. How you been? You all right?
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad. How's the family? They keeping well?
Yeah, they're keeping well. Just trying to entertain the kids as much as possible. It's the half-term week, even though my eldest has been just doing mostly sort of like Google and Zoom calls for classes, if you can call it that. Very surreal.
Oh, wow. Sounds brutal, man.
How you been anyways? How you been keeping?
Yeah, I've been all right. It's been obviously like an interesting time for everyone the last year, innit? So it's, we're surviving, we're coping, we're doing everything that we can. I mean, I'm lucky I'm, with Amy and, and like yourself, you're with your other half too. And, it's good to have that company. There's a lot of people that don't have that, and yeah, thankfully my family are safe and stuff. So it's just trying to do the best we can within this situation, isn't it?
To be blessed with what we have.
Yeah. Hashtag blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. Hashtag blessed. Absolutely. No, cheers for coming on, agreeing to do this. Like, I mean, we've known each other. We've known each other for a long time now, so it's be pretty easy and stuff. Anyways, I mean, I know you've pretty much wasted like no time at all, sort of taking advantage of a bad situation. What with Quinton's Guitar Corner, the stuff you've been doing on Twitch, Instagram, and even Red Method haven't exactly stayed silent throughout this whole thing as well. So I might just jump into that one first.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I mean, the reworks. We should probably dive a bit into sort of Red Method and how that all got started. I mean, I'll give a brief bio, but you can obviously take it from your perspective. My understanding was it was sort of formed basically in the wake of vocalist Jeremy's previous effort, Metastasis. And by this point, he had hired yourself, ABD from The Defiled on samples. And they already had like an album recorded way back in 2017. A bit more of a refined sound, a bit more, I don't want to say commercially sounding, but a bit more listable than say like your straight up sort of sample infused death metal. And then I think the decision came afterwards to sort of rebrand as Red Method. And then you guys after that, just basically gigged and worked tirelessly just to really push that. And I think it more or less succeeded in the time of its inception, which was, I think, officially in 2018, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, it was such a mad time. I just remember being asked to come and try out for Metastasis tail end of 2017. And then I went for it, got in, and, the first thing was like, oh yeah, we've got to make some videos. No, we've got to make one video. That's what I was told first. Bastards. So I can swear, right?
Right? Yeah, of course. Of course. Just let loose.
Yeah. And basically and I think, you were there at that one. And within 3 months of me being in that band, you saw it that day. It was just
the Messiah video. Yes. Where you had like the a lot of shit happened because you basically hired out a little theater, this little studio in Brixton, and he had loads of people show up as sort of like, you know, like cult worshipers dressed in robes. You had the guy who was playing the Messiah, I forget his name. He was also the animal handler, and he brought in snakes, tarantulas, scorpion. I remember he named his snake Yorkie. That's as much as I can remember. But then he had like candles and shit just lit up all over the place as well. But
dude,
it looked the part though. It looked super crazy.
It was. I mean, that. So I joined the band, and we literally got to work straight away on that, and it was just a fully immersive experience, and I'm still really proud of what we were able to do with that video, and even the subsequent videos that have followed since. And you know, and I think so funny. We were planning on obviously going down the route of, you know, release an album, go tour, but we'd noticed through time that, you know, and especially in 2018 at that point, you know, the landscape was kind of starting to shift a bit in terms of how people consume music. And, you know, we knew that we didn't have like, you know, we, at that point, you know, it would have made sense. We needed to test the water. And then we also knew that we didn't really identify so much with, you know, it being a new band now, you know, with me and Alex joining and all that kind of stuff, and the music changing, and it just made sense to rebrand. And literally a month before we were going to bring out the first single, we just made that decision. Let's just go all in. Let's change the name. Let's just do it. Let's go for it. Let's come, you know, reborn as a new band, basically. And we did it, and it's paid off in a lot. You know, it was a big risk to take because we literally ummed and ahed about it. We were like, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? And then Cycle dropped, and as the first kind of single, I guess, and it did okay, and we had shows, and then like we just kept building from there. Brought out Split, we brought out Messiah, we brought out The Absent, you know, Ideology of the Sick as well. We brought out Narcissist last year.
Yeah, I mean, all of these singles, I mean, you had sort of like accompanying videos for them, like music videos or lyric videos. You were essentially just promoting almost the entire album for The Sick before it even got launched. I'm guessing this sort of alludes to what you were saying about how people consume music differently. I'm guessing that was the thinking behind that.
Yeah, pretty much, man, because like, you know, I've got this specific memory way back of at Download, like 2006, and my brother, the band he was in at the time before I ended up joining that band, they had a press pack that they were handing out backstage at Download. It was in a DVD case, and even back then people were like, oh, do I have to carry this? Right. So there's that, you know, that kind of thing. And as we've kind of, you know, as the years have gone by, people are like, oh, do I have to download this song? Like, do I have to click on a link? Oh, this is just effort, you know, in my day-to-day life. You know, we all live by the thumb, right? Everyone's scrolling up.
The smart thumb.
Yeah, everything is all about news and sound bites and all that sort of stuff, you know, and being viral. And for us, it was like there was so much work that was put into the making of that album. Like, even when I joined, I think most of it was tracked, but there were still little bits being done, and then the mixing process was happening. So it took a good couple of months to get it mixed, and all that kind of stuff. And then there was the artwork and all that sort of shit. And basically, yeah, in that time, we thought if we put out the album now, it'll be gone by tomorrow. Like, no one will really, you know. And so we thought, okay, let's drag it out. Like, what have we got to lose? And when we saw the response from Split, you know, in terms of, you know, more shows started coming our way, and, you know, more PR started coming our way, and all that kind of stuff. With good PR, positive PR, we were like, okay, let's kind of stay on this train. What else do we release? Like, we had a whole plan of everything. And then the whole thing was going to culminate with the release of the album and then basically tour. So it's like you're touring before the release of the event and then you tour after the release of the event. So, but then obviously, you know, we did the launch show, the album launch show, and that went down. That was wicked. That was one of my favorite shows we've done. Because at that point we were just a well-oiled machine. And it was ridiculous. And then less than a week later, COVID happens.
Yeah, it's worth noting that For the Sick LP came out February 2020, right before shit hit the fan. Talk about awful timing.
The irony, dude. Like, we spent so much time and invested so much of ourselves into that whole process, and then like literally a week, 2 weeks even. As I remember, like we were about to. It's so weird for COVID, man, because like throughout this whole period, every day it felt like that day before I'm about to go on, we were about to go. We were meant to start the tour on the Wednesday when like lockdown happened, but our drummer and bass player got really sick, like really sick. And they never had the chance to be diagnosed with COVID, but you know, and they're the type of people that, you know, I've seen them when they've literally gone, like one of them's turning purple and about to play a show, and that's a true story. And they've gone and played the show and it's fine, like kind of thing. And
just shake it off later.
Yeah, shake it off later, but they literally couldn't move. And it was really apparent that actually, shit, man, we didn't even end up doing the first 2 dates that were still going, and then this shutdown happened, you know, and everything's being constantly rescheduled. So we'll just have to see what happens, man, with it. I mean, like literally I can see my guitar cases that I had ready to go. My mask is over there in the corner. I can see like my guitars are behind me, but still, like, you know, it's unfortunate, but we've kept ourselves busy and we're just gonna see what happens with that. I mean, we've still managed to do a fair amount in the last year, but I think we're all kind of aching to be able to go back to the crux of it, which is us being able to play music in a room or to people. And we were able to have one rehearsal in September, and that was so cathartic, man. It was oh my God, like it felt like the next day, it felt like, okay, yeah, like we can do this. And this is why we're doing it, because of that feeling and that emotion. Like I've still got videos from it. We're all craving for that, you know, to get back out there. I mean, we all talk almost every day. Like, I probably speak to Jeremy every 10 minutes, and the same with Alex as well. So like, we're just always brainstorming stuff and experimenting and trying different things. So we'll see, man.
I'm guessing this is how the For the Sick album came about. I mean, can you explain sort of, you know, how that idea sort of came about exactly?
Well, in terms of For the Sick, I mean, you know, we were debating on.
Sorry, I meant the reworks. Apologies.
Oh, the reworks. Yeah, sure. So okay, so like obviously with, you know, going back to like the Metastasis days, you got, you know, there was always that sort of industrial element that was infused into the band's catalog from Metastasis, right? Coupled with Alex joining the band, and when he joined the band, he was very much like, I want to do what he calls a rework. And we were like, what's that? What's a rework, dude? And he explained it, and we were like, do you know what? It shows another side of the band. Let's do it. Like, we all like that stuff. And who doesn't like it when they're, you know, in a party kind of mood, and, you know, next thing you know, there's like industrial beats playing, you know, you're going to lose your shit to it. So
you do get examples of sort of like metal bands, especially industrial ones, doing remixes of their albums. The one that comes to mind is Remanufacture by Fear Factory. I think released a year later after Demanufacture. I think that was done by their one of their producers or keyboardists, Reese Fruber, I think his name was. That's it.
Exactly. And the thing with us was that we were very much of the mindset of, okay, well, we actually weren't going to release it when we did. We were going to tour For the Sick as much as possible, and then as a sort of stopgap between that and the next record or EP or whatever it is we end up doing, to basically then put it out then as a stopgap. But because we felt as though, like, okay, within lockdown, we've made a video for Euphoria. Was it Euphoria? No, it was we did actually made a video for Euphoria. We made like a sort of artsy video for the Narcissist as well, and we did all we could with that. We also did, to test the water again, another one for Cycle of Violence as well, for the reworks. And it was like, okay, let's try and let's put that out. Let's get it out there and, get what we can from it. And it served us well. We've been actually pretty blown away by the response because it shows the band in a slightly different light. So I've actually had, like, say, a lot of people who don't even listen to metal, they go, oh my God, like, you guys put that out or what? Like, geez. And a lot of those elements are actually creeping into, like, the newer stuff that we're writing as well. So, which is good. I mean, we've been writing album number 2, I guess. Yeah, album number 2, and or record number 2, EP number 2, whatever we end up doing with it. We've been writing the next selection of tracks, and they are pretty heavy and pretty dark.
I guess it's a testament to all the hard work and shows that you sort of played 2 years prior to the lockdown, especially. So, it's planting those seeds, I guess.
Totally, man. We've been lucky. We've been lucky, so lucky with the support that we've received, man. And we're all, like, really grateful for it. I can't even tell you, man, like, when people, are willing to, what can I do to help today? Like that, you know what I mean? Like, and even with yourself coming out to help us in so many different things, like whether it be video content or, coming down to shows and stuff like that, and just being a good dude, it means a lot to us because, like, we, as I'm sure man, we don't, there's no off time with this band that I'm finding, and it's like
it's meeting central almost. I remember you telling me about all these crazy meetings, sometimes on location. I'm guessing now more remotely, but I'm guessing it's still ongoing.
Yeah, it very much is, man. Like we all get together as much as we can online, and we're all like, what works, what's not working, what does this mean? Are we looking at this? Okay, like, and there's a lot of that happens on a day-to-day. So it's good, man. To be honest, like, I've not been in a band like this in probably since King Size, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just like everyone has the same goal, and we're all like super different people, like all 6 of us, and we all live in pretty remote locations to each other. Like me and Jeremy are in London. Alex he's like a little Greek gypsy, man. He was in Greece for like most of the year, and now he's in London. Then he was in Kingston. I can't keep track of where that dude is. And then you've got like Dave and Brighton, and you've got Will and Fred over in Norfolk. So like, that was a challenge in itself prior to lockdown, because sometimes people be abroad and then they'll fly back to do a show or something, or like people would be, the other side of the country or whatever. But we make it work, man. It's important to us, and like, we're aware of how much we have invested into this, and I mean, I couldn't have imagined it to have gone any better, to be honest, at this point. and we'll see
Well,
what happens.
it definitely looks the part as well. You can usually tell on the face of it. Now, I'm going to sort of dissect the sound a bit of Red Method from a sort of a
Yeah,
punter's
go for it.
perspective. And you're probably going to get this comparison a lot. So I'm just going to count and say it.
It's all good.
Lot of Slipknot, lot of
Oh,
Slipknot in
hell
that
yeah.
sound. But to me, though, it's a good thing because it almost sounds like Iowa era Slipknot if they continued with that sound and invested in modern gear like 8-string guitars and more clean. Well, just it's interesting because like even before when Jeremy was doing his thing with Metastasis, I mean, at the time I saw that as a almost like an evolution of one of his old previous bands, Ted Mall. But in here this
Mm.
time around, like you're hearing a lot more variety in his vocals in terms of the harshness, the clean vocals, but it's not like your
Yeah.
standard sort of like Cookie Monster vocals. There's actually diction behind the harsh
Uh,
vocals as well. And then if that wasn't enough as well, you've got the sort of the image as well, the theatrics. And I'm going to bring up The Mask. All right. Now, before I ask about The Mask, I got to tell you something, right? You're doing it wrong. Okay. All right. Especially with COVID, you're doing it wrong. What you need is one of these old Russian style gas masks. You need to be hunting around for toilet roll right here. And you need to be shouting out, bleed, bleed, bleed. Maybe searching for some vodka. Anyways, that's my piece to camera done. But no, like again, I know you explained to me the reason for the mask, but go on. Tell us your reasons behind it.
Yeah, no, it's not something I've really ever like talked about like before, but I mean, obviously, there are the obvious reasons in terms of that. I think. I mean, but I remember way back when we were about to literally about couple of weeks before we started shooting Messiah, and Jeremy just goes to me one day, what's your thing in the band? And I went, what do you mean my thing? And he was like, well, we've all got the outfits that we wear or whatever. Dave has his dreads. Alex, when he shows up, he has his stuff. I'm gonna have he at the time he wore like a white kind of costume before it all morphed into what it eventually ended up being. What about you? And I just said, well, do you know what, man? I want to wear a mask. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I want to wear a mask. I need to find the right one. And went on the hunt for it. And I mean, aside from it like looking cool and I guess what it means. I mean, masks are not new in any band, to be honest.
No, but this one in particular has a very good sort of live because it's a menacing looking face. Yeah. It gives everyone the 1,000-yard stare, whether you wanted to or not. And the thing is, even without the mask on, you're always pulling these really sort of like these faces as well. So it's just a way to put a cap on that as well. I'm only joking, of course.
No, there is that, but like. And now it's got hair. Now it's got long hair. So it looks even more messed up. So, and because I was missing playing with hair, man, it's just like, oh my God. Like I felt like a potato being waved round in a brown sock. Like,
I remember you told me as well, you kind of felt like you looked like a Malteser that had rolled around the carpet for a bit. Yeah. Hence the mask. Bit of self-deprecating humor on your part.
Of course, man. Blame Daniel Molyneux for that. That was his answer when I first shaved my head. But yeah, no, masks are nothing new in bands, man. Like to me, like they've been around. There's always been that theatrical element to, way before even Slipknot or whatever. And for me, I mean, I'd gone through a lot of personal things over the year prior to me joining Metastasis and what would eventually become Red Method. And I just thought, like, do you know what? I always give everything that I can when I'm on stage, like 100%. I give. Doesn't matter if there's 5 people, don't matter if there's 2 people, don't matter if there's 50 people, don't matter if there's 1,000. Like, doesn't matter to me. You're going to get the same show, and it's like a form of expression, basically, in terms of how I feel. I feel like I've got nothing left to give, but I'm still going to perform, and I'm still going to do it to the best of my ability. And it's like sharing less of yourself, but sharing more of yourself. It's such a weird dichotomy. And now it's got like the bleeding eyes and stuff like that, and the hair and all that kind of shit. And what I absolutely love doing with it is it's like you say with the 1,000-yard stare, is just stop, play, and just keep playing, and just look at someone. And I tell you what, man, in that 5 seconds that I'm able to lock with someone's vision when I'm staring at them, I'm telling you, man, I get to see the real them for like literally, you know, however short the time is. They either don't know where to look, they're either like, fuck, is he looking at me? They're either like loving it and, you know, throwing the horns and reacting positively, or they're just lost. They just don't know what to fucking do. And you see fear, man, and it's like, okay, I'm going to stop scaring you now, and I'm going to walk away, like, you know, that kind of thing. And it's really cool, man. Like, it's really cool to have engaged with people on that kind of front, you know, for sure. And people identify with it, I think. And, you know, it's been a bastard to like get used to. I remember like the first time I wore it was in a rehearsal, and it was for Messiah, and we were rehearsing in slow motion, because when we did the performance scenes, we had to play it all in slow motion. And that was a stupid idea. But like when it came to the take day, my beard was a lot like thicker than what it is now. And after each take, which took 15 minutes, I'd pull off the mask and literally water would fall out, like condensation would just drip. It was so grim. So I have to take care of it and take care of myself. And then I accidentally put it in the washing machine before we were about to do some shows. I don't know how I managed that. I think we came back from a bunch of shows and I just threw my suitcase in the fucking washing machine. The mask was there. And so, which is why now it looks really worn and rugged, and it's got like, yeah, then we added the blood, and then we've added the hair, and it's like, oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, it's effective. It's definitely effective. And to be honest, like, every time I look at it, I think it's just like, it's very uncomfortable. And that's the point, basically. And then you got the other guys as well, sort of doing their thing with it's like, as you said, it went from stray jacket looking things for Metastasis to more sort of full on, almost like red pimp suits, but a variation in between as well. I know that's a very comical way of looking at it, but it works. And not to dwell too much on mourning the past gigs in that, but it landed you some pretty significant festival gigs. Remember you telling me there was guys played Tech Fest, and then there's that one particular Bloodstock gig where you actually had a couple of dancers on stage with you as well.
Yeah, there was that too. I mean, Bloodstock was that was, you know, within, I guess it was like 8 months of us being in a band. I mean, we were doing a headlining tour to UK, plus, you know, Bloodstock Festival as well. And, you know, a lot of planning went into that. And, you know, we had like our full like kind of stage set with our rises and stuff. It was such a wicked experience. And you know, I can't wait to do it again at some point, you know. Tech Fest was ridiculous as well, and as well as like some more like low-key festivals that we did throughout we also did Incineration, didn't we? Forgot about that. We did Incineration Fest. That was mad. That was crazy, man. That was, because we didn't know how we'd go down. And you know what it's like playing at the Black Heart, man. You just don't, kind of nothing. And like when there's 6 people on that stage with the amount of gear that we have, it's just stupid. So like I remember Alex, he set up his keyboard and like he was right next to me the first time we played the Black Heart for Incineration Festival.
Yeah, it's a very small stage as well.
Yeah, and he had nowhere to literally go. So he had to perch himself. I don't know why, but there's a radiator mounted to the wall on that stage. And he's literally sat on the radiator playing his keyboard and swinging it around and hitting me with it. But then I remember another time when we came back from Spain and we played, who did we play with? Oh, God, was it Blood? Oh, I forgot what the name of the band was, man. It's like one of our last London shows. And before we played with Black Tongue, it was a couple of weeks before. and we got added to this bill. And I remember we were like getting ready to play, getting ready to start the set. Alex starts, he's right next to me. He's got the keyboard and he's already flung it and he's hit my headstock on my guitar. And I just mouthed it and he heard it. And I went, for fuck's sake, I haven't even played a fucking note yet. And he was like, oh shit, sorry. And I was like, fuck it. And we just launched into Cycle. And I was like, oh man. But yeah, no, we did some pretty cool shit, man. Pretty cool shit.
Like, what was the I know you mentioned the release show being really good. What was your personal favorite gig, sort of the cycle thus far?
Oh, my favorite one. Okay, I've actually got two. One of them was in London, supporting Phil Anselmo. That was just insane. That was just crazy. Yeah, you were there where you're like, wow, yeah, fuck. That was just I just remember, like, there's a lot with that show, because obviously Raging Speedhorn were playing it too, and we were there. We got there really early because we just weren't sure what the kind of coup is, and we got added to the bill at the last second. It was just one of those things that basically came up at the last second, and we were like, yeah, we're doing it. And then it was like, oh shit, there's another band being added to the bill. Oh crap, like that kind of thing. And then what happened is that I went out to go get some food, because like I just thought, yeah, we're not getting a sound check. It's Phil Anselmo. Like, how are we going to get a sound check? And it was going into our time, so we were like, well, whatever. So I went out for lunch. I bumped into an old friend that I literally hadn't seen in about 10 years. And we went to go get a burrito. And I'm sitting in the little burrito shop and I'm eating my burrito and then catching up with my mate. And then my bass player, Will's, calling me. And I'm like, what's he want? Oh, what the fuck? And he calls me and he goes, come back, bro, come back, come back. And I was like, why? And he goes, just come back, get your ass here now. And I was like, what is going on? And he was like, yo, we're main support now. I went, what? And he goes, Speedhorn had to pull out, we're main support. I said, bro, if we're not main support and I come back there, I'm going to set you on fire. And he was like, no, I'm deadly serious. Come in. And walk back in, and literally, and we didn't have any backline. We were going to use Speedhorn's backline in terms of cabs and kit and stuff. So we were like, whatever. And I just see them fashioning a drum kit, and the stagehands are talking to Fred and they're getting him everything. They opened these random doors and 2 guitar cabs just literally came out of nowhere. And it was like, what the fuck? Okay, this is really happening. Let's get this done. And we had enough time, and it was good. And the show itself was so good, man. I loved that. And then standing behind Phil and his band, and he's playing fucking all the Pantera hits, man. Yeah. Like that was surreal, man. Like just literally standing inches away from the dude, and that was happening, and we were like, oh my god, that was crazy. And then the second show was obviously Bloodstock was a highlight, but there was this one show in Spain, in Vigo, that we played, and we had to play a show the night before in a place called Salamanca, then get on a coach to that leaves Salamanca like once a day at 2 o'clock in the morning, from a bus garage. If we missed it, we were not going to get to Vigo, basically. And Vigo was the festival gig we were meant to play, the indoor festival gig. And get there, and then we're like sat on a coach literally for like 8 hours. I remember watching WWE Royal Rumble with Will on my phone. Like he was next to me and we were watching Royal Rumble on my phone. And get there at 8 a.m. The hotel's not open, so we go sit in a cafe for 2 hours looking like a bunch of pirates. And then we like eventually get to the hotel, sleep. Everyone's knackered, everyone's just broken. Luckily the venue's only like 5 minutes away. We get to the venue, and everyone was super friendly. The promoter was amazing. And then it was like, okay, eventually time to, we had a meeting, and then it was like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. And Jesus Christ, man, there was people just flying everywhere. Like Jeremy, like at one point he parted the crowd just by like doing a sign. Like it was like he was Moses, and we were just like, Jesus Christ. And the carnage and the love from that show was just ridiculous, and it was rammed. We just couldn't believe it. We were like, this is why we do it, you know. And we were all dog tired, broke, just, you know, just knackered. And then we came back and we played a show in London literally 2 days later. Mental. It was sick, man. That show was killer. I just loved it, man. So good.
Oh, that's a fair assessment. Yeah, I forgot to mention you guys had a sort of a stint in Spain as well. So, and I'm guessing the Spanish don't fuck around with their gigs.
Dude, you know what? Like, they love it, man. They literally like they're so thankful for music, and they all like, it's hard to explain. Like, they all listen to everything, man. They're all singing. Like, we play, man, I'll tell you a funny story. We played this one place called Albacete, where it is. And, like, we get there and we see the place. It literally looks like Trinity Bar, but, like, no stage, no nothing. And like, literally line 6 combos for amps and all that shit. There was no drum kit.
Oh, shit.
And, like, and then they eventually got one in. It was just, but do you know what, man? When we went on, it was one of the best. Like, literally, the crowd were just loving it. All our gear went down, like everyone was breaking, but they were just so they just couldn't believe it. Like, and we couldn't believe it. We were like blown away by the response. And same thing in Valencia, man. Like, they just love it, man. They were like taking our pics and shit like that, and just like, you know, wanting us to sign stuff. And Madrid, same thing. It was just awesome, man. Like, they're so like appreciative, and, you know, depending on what limitations we'll have going forward with traveling, I mean, we'd love to come back. You know, India was another place we were thinking about going to. We were making plans for that to go to, and you know, obviously they've had to curtail for a little while, but, you know, we just have to see what happens, man.
Well, I don't think there'll be anything stopping you guys in the future. Now, you wouldn't be experiencing all this if you were a slouching guitar. Look, not to kiss your ass here, but you're probably one of the most technically proficient lead players I've ever witnessed. I mean, I've never seen dedication to the instruments. And yeah, you know, I mean, you can go over the whole story, sort of what got you into guitar, but my understanding is in your youth, you kept nicking your brother's guitars because you took more of an interest in them, and they kind of spiraled from there, really.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, like, it all kind of stems from our cousin. He's, you know, lifelong metalhead, and he just, you know, gave us a tape that had like Black Sabbath, Master Reality on one side and Master Puppets on the other, and me and my brother both got into it at the same time. But, like, you know, my brother like got given a guitar for his birthday, and I was just always playing it. Like, you know, I always kept like sneaking in and trying to play it. He's probably gonna listen to this and go, "You fucking piece of shit." But yeah, like, I would do that, and you know, just keep practicing and stuff like that. And then I eventually got my own guitar, and I just stayed with it. And so did he, man. Like, he still plays guitar. He still is really proficient at it. And, you know, he's taken more of an interest in it, obviously, in the last year and stuff. And yeah, like, it's been that way since. And then, I mean, there was a period of time, probably of about like 4 or 5 years, where I didn't really play that much, because, you know, that I wasn't, after King Size, I was just like, yeah, I'm done with bands and all that sort of stuff. And then, like, there came a point, I think, where I watched In Search of Sun borrow some of my gear at a show, and then I was like, okay, I want to play again. I want to get back into being in band. And then 7 years later, here we are. But, like, it's yeah, I mean, I'm always going to love music. There's nothing that's ever going to change from that. And, you know, might as well embrace it. You know, I like guitar because it's like you play, and it's you know, I don't know, it just makes sense, man. I can't even, there are no words like for how I feel about that, to be honest. as weird as that sounds.
Well, that obviously escalated to the point where you became very, very efficient at lead playing and all that. I mean, what were your I know you've got a multitude of sort of like influences, but who would rank as sort of among your favorites or your sort of go-tos when it comes to just sort of like figuring out stuff on the guitar?
What, lead wise or rhythm wise or overall?
Both
Like, I mean,
overall.
overall, oh man, well, like this guy behind me, James Hetfield, like definitely James Hetfield. Kirk Hammett from probably the first 5 Metallica albums. Although he does do some good shit on like Load and Reload, to be honest. Dimebag Darrell, definitely.
Yeah.
Jerry Cantrell, Mick Thompson, Jim Root, Slipknot, John Petrucci, definitely. Like,
yeah, Dream Theater.
Yeah, and Dream Theater stuff. I love their instrumentation. Hate their vocals, but I love the instrumentation.
Yeah, admittedly, that's the
I think it's
I have
because
with them
of Dream
well.
Theater I learned to block out vocals.
Okay.
In a way. Like, when you get bad vocals, like, I mean, it's not that he's not technically capable. He is. It's just like, I just can't. That register just kills me, man. But then at the same time, when I've thought about it, it's like, what else would you put over? There isn't a lot of space in their music for vocals, and what other kind of tone are you going to apply to it? It wouldn't make sense to put like Cookie Monster vocals over Dream Theater or like
by this
Phil
point,
Anselmo singing.
Then they've carved their niche by this point.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they're the one of the world's most successful prog bands ever. So like, I can't even knock that, but John Petrucci as a guitar player, dude, like, I just, yeah, it makes everything he does make sense, and it makes even more sense when you're trying to learn it, and you're like, oh yeah, like actually that makes so much sense, and it's just something I've been able to identify to, and I've done a few Dream Theater covers here and then. I'm actually learning one right now as well.
Yeah, that just looks insane. I've seen you work that out. It's just like, what the shit?
It is, but then it's the same. It goes down to how much time are you willing to invest to be able to try and do that stuff. Like, I wouldn't say like, I mean, I can do their songs to a point, but I could never write like that because that's not my style. It's not like, I love playing that stuff and I love learning that stuff and applying it, but ultimately, and for anyone, it comes down to songwriting, and I can't write in that style. I can write a technical riff, but I couldn't then think about like time signatures and then like, how would I apply a keyboard melody to this and all that sort of stuff. And it's crazy music, man, for sure. Crazy music.
And
always good to learn off.
It is. And look, the efforts have paid off. What I was going to mention as well is firstly, the endorsements you've been getting for a start, because you had I mean, name them for me, because I can't think of them all. You had that Tone Port one, I think, but then you had those picks as well. And am I correct in thinking it was a Solar guitar endorsement as well?
Yeah. So the Solar guitars, Hawk picks. I've got like a bit of an affiliation with STL Tones as well, which has been quite cool. There's like Reamp Zone as well. Can't forget them, man.
That was what I was thinking of.
Dan, in terms of helping us trying to really forge some kind of sound in terms of what we were going for, because 8-string guitar was like a new realm for me in particular, because it's the complete opposite of dialing in a guitar tone for a 6-string. Like, dialing in guitar tone for a 6-string is actually pretty easy. Like, metal guitar tone, it's not hard. 8-string, it's a complete opposite, man. Can't have any low end. You can't have any like mid range. You can't have any. Oh god, it's horrible, man.
I mean, those things are like those things are giant, anyways. And a lot of buyers for those usually just go after them for like the low F sharp strings normally.
Yeah, man.
Which are like a ridiculous gauge.
Exactly, and we're tuned to drop E, so we have like E in the bass register, then we have like drop A after that. And like for me, it's so weird. I find it really, at first I found it really challenging, but now it feels really normal. So like for me, I actually play my 8 strings like 6 strings now. Like I don't, when I do play 6 strings, it's for the videos like that I do and stuff, like if I'm doing like a lesson or something. But if I'm playing generally now, it's predominantly on the 8s, because I can almost like, especially with like, say if I'm playing the Dream Theater stuff that's on 7 string, I can literally just play it on the 8 and it's fine. Like if I'm playing like if I want to work out a solo and it's in the key of E, I can do it on the 8. Like it's fine, it's not a problem. And I'm still getting the same results, if anything. So no, Solar are cool, man. Like the guitars they build are just ridiculous. It's actually the best 8 string I've played. It's so good I bought 2 of them. So good I got 2. Like I mean, one was meant to be a backup for life, and but like obviously COVID did what it did. So now I'm stuck with 2 Solar 8 strings. I'm staring at and thinking, why, Lord, why? Why did I do that?
No, you'd be like, no, you know what? I'm keeping this. This is too nice. Too nice to be shipped anywhere else.
Well, I've actually chipped one of them really badly because, well, it's not bad. Like it's just a visible chip because the finish is like a matte finish. We were filming the Red Method video we put out a couple of weeks ago, Slaves, to the New World Disorder. And what that involved, obviously the film remotely in terms of our scenes and the bits that we did. And part of what we filmed was the ability we were going to destroy our instruments.
Oh no.
And as soon as but destroy them, you know, for the sake of the camera, so by throwing them and just like throwing them around and stuff. And I got a bit too carried away, and there's this chip in the guitar, and I'm like, oh, every time I look at it, I just want to cry, man. But you know, the guitar still works. It's all right. It means it's mine, and it means that like if it ever got stolen, I could tell that's mine, like kind of thing.
Well, if it wasn't going to happen sort of on camera, it was probably going to happen, you know, during a tour
on
circuit
stage.
or a gig. Anyways, it's just it's part of the risk.
Yeah, man. Like the injuries. The being in a band like Red Method, it's like, I don't know, man. Anything can happen. That's the one thing I've noticed. Like, I'll be walking one end of the stage and I just literally get punched. I walk to the other stage and then something's hit me, you know, or I've like twisted like my ankle or something stupid. Like always, I can remember once we played in Weymouth. This place was Ramo, and playing, and we're proper into it. And obviously, like my peripheral vision. I mean, obviously, I wear glasses, right? And I don't wear glasses or contacts under the mask, so I'm literally like all I can see, you know, like literal like peepholes. Yeah, I can see people, but like I can barely see, and out the sides in my peripheral vision is just not really there. So I'm doing my thing, I'm hairbagging away, and then I remember looking up and I see like Alex, our keyboard player, swinging off like these pipes, and he let go and he literally did a drop kick, man. He drop kicked me.
Oh, jeez.
I went flying into Jeremy, who at that point, you know, he had his his mic in his left hand, and with his fist, he went to go like that, like, oh, like that kind of thing. And he punched me, man, like in the side of my head. And I was just like, oh, that was negative. Like, and I was almost on my knees. And yeah, we've since learned like to try and like, you know, give each other space. But then a lot of the places that we've played, you know, some of the places there's been no room, some of the places there've been lots of room. I still end up getting injured somehow, though.
So. Yeah. Sometimes you just can't help it, because you know you can, otherwise, you know, some people would probably stupidly suggest to draw circles around yourself, just saying like, "This is my no square" or something like that.
My no square. That's amazing. Do you know what? I might do that in this fucking band. Like, I might have to, man. And the other thing is like cardio, because like, oh man, like I'm not an exercise freak or nothing, but I remember like we had like 3 weeks between shows and it was like the next show was Bloodstock. We didn't even rehearse for it. We just literally rocked up. And I wish we did rehearse for it because bloody hell, man, I was running around the stage like a loon. And by the second song, I was like, I was like, oh no, I've peaked. What the fuck?
Oh, shit.
That kind of thing, you know? And like literally I ran behind the stage, just like took a sip of water and just literally ran back on. But yeah, it's a bit of a workout. It keeps the blood flowing for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, most people don't know this, but often when you're on a stage, even no matter how small or big, you do just get an adrenaline surge, whether you will it or not. And quite often, you might not have much control over that, and you end up doing crazy shit like running side to side.
Yeah, man, and yeah, exactly. And that adrenaline rush, and coupled with people reacting to what you do, yeah, man, that I if I could bottle that, you know, and especially when it's a good reaction, like if I could bottle that, oh man, and sell it, I'd be a fucking millionaire. But like, it's so good, and it's like it's not like you crave the validation. It's more like, okay, this is me. This is what I do. This is what I love to do, and for people to react to that without, you know, having to talk or anything like that, it's like that's real, man. It's yeah, I'm getting quite like, oh man, I probably want to play now, like a proper one. I like.
Got you.
And I know everyone.
You're reminiscing too much now.
Yeah, I've been trying to like block it out a lot of the time, but like, yeah, I mean, we were itching to go, but you know, like we've got a lot to be thankful for, man. Like for real, like as a you know, not just from a band perspective, but individually, like, you know, we're all lucky to have the families that we do, and you know, the people that do support us day in day out. You know, it's yeah, fuck, like I couldn't ask for anything better, to be honest. Just gotta.
I was going to say that could segue into that because I mean, you know, in absence of all of that, you have been keeping busy. I mean, you've pretty much given your Quinton Guitar Corner a massive push, even going so far as to do like Twitch streams and all that.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, changing the subject slightly. First of all, how did the Guitar Corner come about, and sort of how has it sort of evolved since then? Because I know it's kind of branched out and gotten a massive following since then.
Well, yeah, well, basically, like it started, I think, in 2017. I had some, things that were happening, personal stuff, and I was just like, you know what, I bought a camera, I'm gonna use it. And I remember contacting you, and I was like, all right, how do I use this fucking thing? And you hooked me up really well and really nicely, and I just started making videos, and I had no idea in terms of like what kind of content I was going to make, or I just thought, I'll do some gear demos. Why not? I like that stuff. Why not? I like watching it.
The guitar itself is completely hand built, and is made famous by the one, the only James Hetfield of Metallica. The guitar features a Honduran mahogany body and neck with pre-stressed graphite spars and a dual-acting truss rod in the neck.
I had no real clue, and I still kind of don't, in terms of, how to film and, making it look like super polished and all that kind of stuff. But what that was doing, what I was putting out was kind of helping me kind of at least, gain a little bit of, say, relevancy within like the crowds that I was with from a music perspective. So if it wasn't for the Guitar Corner, I don't think the guys in Metastasis would have thought, oh yeah, we can ask this guy to kind of come in, And that's how the guitarist Dave knew of me, because he was seeing, that sort of stuff come up on his feed and all this sort of shit, and kept me top of mind for Jeremy as well, because I was doing that stuff. And he wanted me to sort of come in and then obviously with Red Method doing what it was doing, I just couldn't commit to making videos, like a lot of them or anything. And by that point, there's been a big shift in terms of how people consume entertainment, right? And then I think around June last year, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to start again. I'm just going to start putting out videos. And so I started off doing one a week for like 6 months. And then this year I was like, no, fuck it. I'm going to do as many as I fucking can and get my ass on Twitch. And yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. And you know, it's been good doing it. Definitely, it's been a learning curve because like so much has changed, man. Like with the way that like TikTok has come into play, and you know, people are watching vertical videos more than they tend to watch other things. And in terms of how videos cut through now amongst amongst audiences. On YouTube, you're probably better off making a vertical video and releasing it as a 60-second short. And it's helping because like the subscribers now on YouTube are, slowly increasing. Instagram is weird. I don't understand that anymore. But I've literally been on TikTok for like 4 days now, and it's been pretty all right. Like the reaction you get is very real and very organic. So it's like, okay, cool. That's been good.
Didn't it start as sort of like you intended it to be like online guitar lessons, but then it sort of morphed into sort of you doing streams of covers and stuff like that. I mean, I do still see you sort of push a few techniques and stuff that you've learned and picked up over the way, but you sort of mishmashed it into all kinds of things now.
Yeah, so now it's like whatever I feel like doing, and that's why I kind of called it a guitar corner, because like at the end of the day, it's like I love playing guitar. If I just lump myself in with like playing gear, I'm not always going to have access to premium gear. That's the thing, right? And people like watching premium gear. And I don't have that much premium stuff, like in terms of like, aside from, let's say the PRS, but I've had that a long time. But then in terms of like lessons and stuff, I mean, there are so many other players out there that are actually, more proficient and more, within, they have that teaching style down. So I can show what I know and what I've learned and all that kind of stuff. But there are other people that do that in their day to day. And at the same time, I love playing covers. I grew up playing covers. That's how I learned, guitar, which was in the way that I play it was literally like learning songs by ear as best as I could, and, trying to identify, elements of techniques within there that I wanted to do. And, now we live in a world with, the resource is just unlimited, right? So now I can use a combination of both, which is like, okay, I'll learn it by ear and then I'll go find a video. How is that person playing it? How is that person playing it? Okay, are the tabs right? Okay, let me have a look at the tabs. Does that seem right? Okay, yeah, that's a good basis to stand off. Let me try and work it out from there. And it's been good in that sense to be able to utilize that.
And you've done up your office as well a lot since I last saw it. I mean, you got that big cardboard cutout of the Undertaker just to entertain people, and you got all the pictures as well. You already showed us the James Hetfield painting, so yeah, you've obviously committed to it now to the point where you've made things even visually arresting.
Yeah, like I mean, that's what it is, right? I mean, it's such a weird thing because nowadays when people want to watch stuff, they want to watch it with the with the element of some sort of presentation there. Everything is presented as like a package, and this is what I've been learning more from Red Method. You can't just it doesn't matter if it's the greatest song in the world. It's the same with Metallica. Metallica could literally package a turd, right? But if they package that turd well, it will sell.
Saint Anger comes to mind.
Yeah, dude, 1 million albums. Like, well, there you go. Like, in the first like month or something stupid. Like, you know what I mean? But then that was a different time and all that kind of stuff. But like at the same time, people want to see that. And before I was always playing in just like a plain room and just thinking, well, people are going to want to listen to me play. But that's not it. That's not strictly the case anymore. People kind of watch music now. And with the way that music has become more and more throwaway, it's more about the personality. It's more about what's behind it. Sure, obviously, if I screw up and play some bullshit and release it, I'm going to get called out on it, like 100%. But at the same time, it's I'm trying to think less about, okay, like, am I 100% perfect on this? That's not saying that I'm not like highly strong anymore, because I still am. But like, it's more about, okay, like, I got to make it look like people want to watch this. You know what I mean? And even like the Undertaker being a talking point, man. I mean, he's my favorite WWE wrestler, like, ever. And I've even got the mini toys like here as well. Like the two.
It just adds a bit of personality.
Yeah, man. I mean, and there are lots of parallels between like rock, metal, and wrestling as well. And I think at some point I'm probably going to do like a proper podcast on it, because like, yeah, I mean, it's no secret now, I guess, but like, I'm probably a big super nerd when it comes to WWE stuff. So
well, I remember before, you just reminded me, you had like a small interview series where you're interviewing other musicians and asking them about their gear and stuff as well.
And pickup, So I guess it just suits you best in terms of what you do.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like, we've recorded 2 albums now with this guitar, with this pickup, and it's just become our tone, if you see what I mean.
For sure.
So yeah.
Sure. And what fretboard is that? Is that ebony? Or?
Yeah, it's an ebony fretboard. I don't think you can get many ebony fretboards anymore.
Right.
But yeah, it's an old ebony one. But yeah, it's great, to be honest. I mean, if you're a shredder, this guitar is probably not for you. But if you're just all about chun 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 as I am, it's fucking perfect, really.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Awesome. It's just a 1 volume knob, no switching, just string through body. It's very, very utilitarian. I quite like it. It's very, very, just for the throat. I quite like that.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, turn it up. Fucking here you go. Here's a metal tone.
For sure.
Well, do you think that'll make a comeback at some point?
Yeah, definitely, man. Depending on how we can do it, even in this format, it just depends if people are up for it. It's been difficult in a sense of just trying to kind of, be able to like kind of make that happen. But yeah, it's something that's definitely on the horizon, man. There's something to be said about like when you get invited to. I remember I did one with this band called The Drowning, and like the dude had all these rare guitars and rare Jacksons, rare Charlels, like pure 80s guitars, and I had to go down to Wales for it, and it was just ridiculous, man.
I wasn't into the more traditional guitars of Gibson SGs and Les Pauls and stuff like that. The metal was. These guitars were part of the metal scene, and these are the brands that always stood out when I was younger. So now going back to get these retro guitars is a big passion of mine,
Awesome.
And all of them were like really well kept and everything. And yeah, I love that stuff, man. I love learning about gear and learning about like, just the how things have sort of come to be. So yeah, it should make a comeback for sure. It just need the right kind of setting to make it work, because it's one thing doing those. Like I've seen where like Premier Guitar, like for example, they now do like this is my rig, and it's like a on a Zoom call or whatever, and it doesn't really translate very well.
Doesn't work as well.
No, unless you're doing like a studio tour. But it has to be filmed by the person themselves doing it. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise it's just a bit weird. It's like, yeah, it's hard enough, I think, in this point in time. But when the time's right, man, I will definitely.
You've just reminded me of something as well, because you mentioned Premier Guitar. I mean, you're no stranger to exposure yourself. You had that Guitar World feature late last year as well, whether that came out through this or Red Method. I mean, what was that like?
Oh, dude, that was a dream. That was just weird, man. Like the opportunity came through Red Method basically, and it was like, they want to feature, there was a whole thing about like UK bands and stuff and helping out during the pandemic and all this sort of stuff. and there was this feature going along on Guitar World Online, and we came up as one of the bands. But then I think I had the content ready to go because I was saving it. And I was sort of using it as like PR and just showing like that, you know, I'm playing solo and I'm using Evertune and I'm using all this kind of stuff. But we had this video and they ended up putting it out as their own feature, separate to like this, I think it's called Sick Riffs or something like that, but so separate to Sick Riffs. And we were like, holy fucking, I didn't believe it was going to happen. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, we'll see. You know, it's Guitar World. Like, they've probably got like 200,000 other things to fucking deal with, and then they literally put it out and we were like, fuck, this is real, man. This is very fucking real. And it sort of encouraged me more to give the Guitar Corner more of a go as well, because, you know, and ultimately that came from Red Method, you know, at the end of the day, like Red Method is what is sort of giving a lot. It's like if you adopt that periphery school of thought, man, it's like they very much have, you know, the band is the vehicle and then everything else spawns out of that. And I like to think of this in the same vein. Like, obviously it's down to me how much I push the Guitar Corner and all that kind of stuff. But it was, you know, that was a Red Method thing, you know, and it was like, okay, well, I got to jump on it. I have to. If I don't take advantage of this now, it ain't going to happen. So, and yeah, it was cool, man. And it's something I can always look at forever, like no matter what happens, and go, yeah, I was on that side. Cool, man. Like, you know, and
just something to put on the portfolio as well.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
It's worth noting as well. I mean, all of you guys, you're basically doing all this big giant hustle and doing your own avenues while sort of working, you know, your standard mundane day jobs as well. So I imagine that's like a very difficult sort of work-life balance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not going to complain overly. I mean, I think like a lot of my close friends know, like when I'm just like, I'm fucking tired, you know, and they know that it's all self-inflicted and it's all my own fault.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I do work, and you know, obviously a 9 to 5 job. At this point, it's probably like 9 till 8 p.m. or something stupid. Take an hour off and then come and then literally just focus on music, and that's how it's been. And because like I'm becoming more and more, say, time poor because of like commitments I do have, I've been trying to find ways of still getting content out, you know, even if I'm not necessarily recording it that day, I've got content ready to go, and that's what I've got to figure out. And that's what I have been figuring out, and it's working to a degree, but yeah, we'll just have to see what happens, man. I mean, the one thing that I think is, you know, realizing that I play extreme music. You know, I'm playing metal. Metal is niche at the best of times. I can play pop and all that kind of stuff, but my heart isn't there. And I remember the guitar player from Nothing More actually kind of putting that out to me. He was like, you could be a session player, man, but your heart is actually all about being in a band. You can clearly see that. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, you're right. Because I filled in for In Search of Sun for a couple of shows, and they were touring with Nothing More, and Nothing More just, you know, we in the couple of days I was there with them, they were really cool. And he said that to me, and I was like, yeah, all right, you motherfucker, fine. Like, you know, that kind of thing. Because I was talking to him about wanting to become a session player, and he was like, yeah, but you could be, your heart's in being in a band, man. You should keep doing that, and it will pay off eventually. And you know, we'll see what happens, man. It's a long road, and you have to be in it because your heart is there. Your intentions have to be pure, and that's what people enjoy, and that's what people like. And the fact of the matter is, I love playing guitar, I love playing music, I love being in the band that I'm in. Like, how much more I can do with it, I don't know. Like, you know, in terms of like the next 10 years, you know, imagine being like 50 and fucking playing brutal metal, like in a mask and a fucking oh my god, you know, cut, you know, in the outfits that we wear with the paint and all that fucking shit. But like, man, until that kind of dwindles and it fades, then I'm not into it, then I won't do it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the same for a lot of people, you know?
Yeah. Well, you've been at this for a while now. I mean, I remember, and you know, this might be a good segue into going into sort of your previous accomplishments. 'Cause I remember seeing you. Let's think back here. Probably around 2004, 2005. You had this dinky venue. You mentioned the Trinity before, and then you had other places that were around, like the Wembley Rugby Club. And here I see this band called Heroes of the Enemy. Doing the same circuit as all those other sort of hero bands. But then before I knew it, then you were playing lead guitar for King Size Blues. And that at the time seemed like a pretty fairly big deal. I can tell that you guys were making a proper crack at it in terms of both sound and endless gigs and the odd tour across the UK as well. I mean, what are your sort of reflections on that time, if you have any?
I mean, it's so funny, man. Oh wow, like it's like I remember a lot of those days, man, because like, you know, I remember with Heroes of the Enemy that came about because like me and Sheldon, the guitar player, he's like my oldest friend. We were just frustrated with the band that we were in growing up, and we wanted to write more technical music, and we wanted to write some, you know, stuff with a bit more melody, you know, and push stuff that way. And you know, we loved harmony, we loved all that kind of stuff, and we were very much the odd band out in that kind of era.
I remember the sound coming through pretty crystal clear, because there were a lot of sort of guitar harmonies, and you know, that thing that you do as well, and sort of really focusing on the guitar playing and what the guitar is doing, sort of riff.
Yeah, exactly. And then like King Size came along and they were like, hey, do you want to join? And I was like, I remember being like 19 years old, and I was like, sure,
shit,
why not?
Young, damn.
Yeah, I was young. I was the youngest in the band. The rest of them were like 24, 25. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And they looked after me, man. They did. I mean, I did get myself in some crazy spots, but like they did look after me, man. They did watch out for me. And obviously being in the band with my brother was the dream. I literally thought, you know, age 19, yeah, we're going to fucking take over the world. But you know, life happens, and you know, it was what it was. I remember those days, man, were fun times. I used to love playing, you know, I still love playing live, but then, you know, there was back then it was just like, it was everything to me. It was literally like, oh yeah, when's the next show? Let's go do it. You know, I'm ready. I don't care.
I'd make the argument as well. I think there was a bit more of a better communication between bands with the advent of MySpace being a lot more band and musician friendly, especially unsigned ones.
Yeah, back then there was, yeah, definitely. And that's how King Size just went mental, you know, around that time. Yeah, it was awesome. But, you know, now there's a lot more in terms of, you know, from a video perspective and blogging and all that kinds of vlogging as well. You know,
the game has changed. The game has definitely changed.
Big time, dude. Like, you've got bands that are coming out and they've literally, you know, they've got the fucking, you know, the image down, the haircut, the everything, you know, the playing, everything, like, and that's fine. You know, these things come through and do what they do. But
there was a time where you could be forgiven for being a bit rough and dirty around the edges and still have a laugh and a good time out of it.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like if I think about like all the times, like, okay, like say with me and you, for example, right? Like all the times, like especially when I was doing like the Kill for Company stuff.
Yeah.
Like all the drives.
Oh geez, the drives.
when you drove us, you remember that drive to Hastings?
Hastings, yes.
Yeah, dude,
that was actually a good night out. Actually, I got no complaints about that.
That was a wicked night out, dude. I had such a wicked time. Like that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, we basically had no idea where we were going. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when we went to Dungeness at like 3 a.m?
Yes.
And that was insane.
For
and
the fucking what would become the Democracy Has Failed video. Jesus Christ, what a logistical challenge that was.
That was, yeah, but we did it, man. And like there's stuff like that, and that, that's why when it came to like the film show, I just said to the boys, like, dude, I want Jack to come film it. Like, I want him to come. Like, he's got to, because like at the end of the day, it's like there's so much that we had been through at that point. And even with you hooking me up with like, tips and stuff and what camera to get and all that kind of stuff, it goes a long way with me, man. Like,
yeah, I suppose it was through Kill for Company. I suppose we got sort of properly acquainted and sort of became sort of business partners as well as mates and stuff. And we did a lot of crazy shit, like drive to Dungeness Beach at 3 a.m, gathering pretty much 3/4 of the band plus Poshy for extra hands to hurl Dan's drum kit across this Britain's only desert, as it's quoted.
Oh my god, yeah, man. I mean, there's a fun times, man. There's a fun times, and like
brutal though. Like I was so sleep deprived, and I'd shot a music video like the day before as well, up in Milton
I remember.
Keynes. So I was fucking broken. It was worth it though.
I remember coming home at like, I don't know. I think I walked into my door at like 11 a.m. or something. And I was like so stunned because I was like, did we just shoot a music video?
It's a double take.
And about
it's like
hour
jet
later,
lag.
Yeah, about an hour. And I was in bed. And then at about 2 p.m, I just see a still come through and it was from you. And I was like, oh shit, we really did film a music video this morning at like 5 a.m. on a fucking beach. Like, what the fuck are we doing, Yeah. And all that sort of stuff. It's been it's been a trip, man. Like definitely. And when I think back to when we were even younger, like it was very much a community vibe, and I'm still in touch with a fair few people from that time, and it's all good. But like, I remember like being, I remember with Heroes, at least we were definitely the odd ones out. Back in the day, we were like, I don't know what we were thinking, to be honest. But like, we just were like, okay, well, we'll just write whatever and see what happens and just do some dumb shit. And good times, man.
Yeah, well, it's the young, dumb, and having fun part of that. And I could think of worse ways to, expend youth.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's the thing. That's what kind of, because there wasn't a lot to do. That was the other thing. Like, for me, it was just like, I was literally just playing guitar all the time. I was that idiot that would go to a party with a guitar and then go upstairs and just sit there and play. Like, I was that guy, and given the choice, I'd probably still be that guy. And I just, that's what we did. And a lot of my friends and close friends are either, still doing music and still, recording and still doing all kinds of stuff. So it's nice to know that, that stuff's been carried over and people are still doing that sort of stuff, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like a passion that never goes away, at least not easily. And I was speaking to other people about this. It's just, even if life sort of gets in the way and stuff, there's always going to be a part of you that's going to miss it, even after sort of doing as much as you can, seeing as much as you can, and getting burned out by the end of it. Eventually, sometime along the way comes calling back.
Yeah, it's like every time you tell me like, oh yeah, I'm taking a break, I'm like, yeah, I'll give you I'll see you in a couple of months, bro.
Yeah, you're right for saying, although to my credit, I did manage a good year and a half not doing anything. And you're right in saying I did eventually miss it. But to be honest, I think COVID was a good motivator just to say, look, hey, people like us creative types that are not keen on just completely settling down, we can't sit this one out. We got to make that effort just to appease whatever guilty conscience we have.
Yep. No, totally, man. And that's exactly it. For me right now, like, I feel more motivated than I have. Like, I don't know, man. Like, literally, there's just this fire up my ass at the moment, just to, like, just to do as much as I can musically. And even at a time like now, and like, there are times obviously when it's not been easy, but I've got, the support of the rest of the band, for example, where they're like, where I'm like, oh, what are you lot up to? Oh, do you know, I've been doing drums for this part. Like, oh my God, like, I don't know what to do. Like, are we doing this? Like, let's figure this out. Or like, I'll get a riff sent to me or something, and I'm like, okay, like, and then it just it snaps you straight back into it, man. You're just like, okay, yeah, got to keep going, And then obviously doing the day job at the same time, I think that's just part of it, man. You just got to, you got to keep the lights on, somehow. And you got to, make sure all your ducks are in a row. I'm in a fortunate position where I can, invest time into music and because music music is an expensive hobby. It really is. Like, it's so
Absolutely.
expensive, especially when you want to like do it at a level. It's fucking expensive, and it can spiral and be crazy, and you have to be ready for that, because the thing is, like, the opportunities, they're few and far between, and when they come, you got to grab them. If you don't grab them by the balls, man, it ain't gonna happen. And the thing is, and no one will know, like, I've been in so many bands, and I know of so many people that are the most talented motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. But they're just not willing. Or it doesn't mean about, like, it's not a knock on those people. What it is just that, like, they either can't see the potential behind what it is that they can do, or, like, if an opportunity is there, to take it, and there might be a life thing that stops them, or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, they don't go to take it.
I think it's also
whatever
fear of failure or intimidation by such prospects for some people as well. I can only speculate.
Maybe it could very well could be that, but I think it's just what you want to do at the end of the day. There's that too. I mean, I think it depends on what you want to do, in terms of, and how you see it for real. Like, and I think it's just a question of, like, wanting to. For me, I just feel like my purpose is to play. I don't know what I don't like. And, like, when I look at my mum, like, for example, she's like 60 years old, and up until COVID, she was literally doing like 4 gigs a week, as a singer. Wow. Didn't matter, like, she was doing it, like, and I was like, nice. Okay, and she does that. She, didn't. I just think to myself, like, okay, that's where I clearly get it from. That's what I want to do. And if you enjoy something, I think life's too short to not. It literally is, and that's it. Like, life is too short to not do something. You can and ah about it. You can think of all the reasons why you shouldn't do something, but if it's calling to you, man, you got to do it. You got to find a way, man. And that's the way I look at things now, because when I think back to like, things that I wasn't ready for to do, or things where I thought, because I remember when King Size was done, I remember Luca coming up to me and he goes, man, I was like, yeah, I'm done with bands. And Luca said, man, you should never quit. Why are you quitting, man? What's wrong with you? That's what he said to me. He will never remember that, but I remember that. And the fact that he said that to me at the time really shocked me. But I was like, well, yeah, I'm done. Fuck it. And do you know what? In hindsight, he was right. I should have carried on. I should have kept on. I was the youngest out of the guys. I should have kept on. But at the same time, I'm not knocking the stability I have, like, within my life, my family life, living with Amy and, being married and all that kind of stuff. I'm not knocking that at all. That's, that's everything to me, man, as well, you know. But I do want to play, and you know, luckily I'm in a place where there is that stability and the support from my wife for me to be able to do that, you know, and I can't be any more thankful for that, to be honest. And you know, if bigger opportunities come from a musical perspective, then great. If they don't, then at least I know I tried, man. You know, that's the way I look at it.
Till the bitter end.
Yeah, man. I just hope that I'm like wise enough to know when to stop, though.
I don't think anybody is, to be honest. You were mentioning
I don't know, man. Like,
no, some are, but then where's the fun in that at the same time?
Yeah. Could you imagine, man? I'm like 60 years old and I'm still doing like TikTok guitar videos. Like, that'd be just ridiculous, man.
Christ.
And I'd still have like, you know, 700 subscribers or something like that. Like, my subscriber base wouldn't have moved whatsoever. And I'm still doing like 4 videos a day or something stupid like that.
Or you never know, like the future will have its share of sort of technological surprises. You never know. You may have like an audience of like VR viewers watching you play a gig through VR or something crazy.
I'll tell you what's weird, man, is playing on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's so weird because, you know, I'm playing in this room, right? Got a camera pointed at me. I'm talking into a microphone. I've got headphones on, so it's not like I'm rocking around out. And then like I can't hear anyone talk to me, but I can see people like talking. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm playing, but I'm just like, and I love the interaction from it, actually, the kind of one-to-one reaction, or like to, you know, group chat reaction type thing to stuff. And it's quite an interesting thing. And it's like I was saying earlier in terms of being time poor and like, you know, being able to get more videos out of it because I'm doing covers, so I can get like 4 or 5 out of it and in one go, and it's all live off the floor, so it gives it that kind of organic sound. So you see me fuck up, which is fucking hilarious in itself. Sometimes it's like literally like my brain just melts, and because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing on Twitch at the moment, it's like doing covers that I've not played in a long time, so like, or haven't played. And that will be my first time trying it type of thing. And it's just like, yeah, there are some points. I think the other day on Twitch, actually, I did Dirty Diana, and then I went straight into Nazem, Shadows by Nazem.
That's quite the combination. How do you decide?
That's what I did, man. I'm going to put out the videos in a couple of days. And I hadn't played that Nazem tune since I was like probably 15, 16 with my brother, like when we were practicing like our instruments a lot.
Hell of a band.
Yeah, dude. Like we used to jam that song Shadows because it was just so insane, and it was kind of in key with what we were writing at the time individually. And like we used to jam that in our living room. He would have his drum kit set up, and I would have a little Marshall valve state 30-watt amp, tune the guitar down to A, and like we would jam that song. And I did it like for the first time since then, and I forgot half of it. Like there were bits where I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that, you know. And even with I think I was doing like a Metallica tune the other week, and like it was guitar solo, and literally like my brain just was like, no, it's not happening. And you see that, and I think there's a bit of an honesty with that, you know. But yeah, I mean, I hope it comes across. Because yeah, like I said, man, I love playing guitar. So what can I say?
It definitely shows. I mean, you've kind of alluded to it already. But I mean, what are the plans for the future? Obviously, continuing what you're doing with Quinton's Guitar Corner and Twitch and TikTok and all that. You already mentioned Red Method writing new material as well. I know you can't predict the future as such, but yeah, I mean, what do you got your sights set on, like as of now, as of recording this?
So for me, it's like being as ready as I can, because there is going to be a point. I don't know when. I don't know. Could be whenever, when we're going to play live again. And I think it will happen in some capacity. And being ready for that. So it's, yeah, I need to get my fitness sorted out for sure. And continue practicing and trying to learn new things. Like I try and teach myself as much as I can. I've also started teaching guitar too. So I've actually got space for 2 students if anyone ends up watching this and stuff. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with me in it.
Drop those links. Like where can people sort of find you in terms of sort of social media channels and all that? Both band and yourself.
Yeah, so for me, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok. I just search for like Quinton's Guitar Corner or Quinton Red Method Guitar, or and that's basically that. With Red Method, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram. There might be a TikTok page coming soon. TikTok and Red Method on TikTok. Jesus Christ. And yeah, like we're just gonna, I mean that's basically where you can find it. You can also find us redmethodofficial.com. I'm also working on a website for Quinton's Guitar Corner as well. Just a lot, man.
I think you listed quite enough there. We'll be sure to put them in the description and all the relevant places before, so they should be able to find you. Listen, we'll have a chat after when we're done recording here, but it's been great speaking to you again, Quinton. Glad to see you're doing well, and all the best in the future.
All right, cheers, man. Cheers.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.